kalian keluar daripada aku terganggu. Suruh keluar itu, yang belakang sudut sana itu. Keluar Pak. Siapapun Anda. Keluar, kalau enggak aku enggak terusin. Aku bilang, aku enggak terpecah. Oh, yang belakang jangan ngobrol, kalau ngobrol mending keluar. Mending keluar.
Harus sikap dari teman-teman ini. Bagaimana caranya? Kasihan kalau mereka dipulangkan. Seperti itu. Gak akan mereka pulang kan? Pasti dia balik lagi.
Recording in progress.
Makanya itu harapan kita. Mereka ini membuka pintu bagi mereka untuk bisa masuk. Seperti itu. Jadi saya sangat mengharapkan dari teman-teman itu bisa. Ayolah, portofolio itu ada di Anda.
Good morning, our esteemed participants and distinguished guests, and also our keynote speakers for today's agenda. And good morning also for online participants. I extend my warmest regards and wish you excellent health and enthusiasm today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. First of all, I would like to praise God because of His mercy we can gather in this opportunity. On behalf of the organizers, welcome back again with me, Nurma, as the Master of Ceremony for today, the 10 days of the 7th International Summer Course Program, with the theme Managing Forest Landscape and Forest Dependent Communities to Bridge the Future, Learning Across Governance Regimes. Commence our activities. Today we have 4 topics for lecture session. Before we go too far for today's agenda, I would like to give one confirmation regarding
Yes.
Okay, commence our agenda. Before we go too far for today's agenda, I would like to give one confirmation regarding the first keynote speakers of this day. Unfortunately, the speaker from the Freeport mining company Indonesia is unable to attend due to a cyber attack on their system, and it has been keeping the system down for the past 1 week. Thus, they cannot submit for business trips, and our first keynote speaker has already switched with another speaker. However, we are going to start our first topic of this day is about bioenergy development in Indonesia, target, challenge, and current status. Then the second topic is about oil palm agroforestry, potential adoption for industry and small-scale farmers in Indonesia. After that, we will discuss about silviculture approaches to transforming forest plantation to native tropical forests in IKN Forest City. We will end today's agenda with the topic development of superior teak trees, Tectona grandis in Indonesia, wood properties. Proceed to the first topic of this day. Our first keynote speaker of this day is Dr. Tommy Listianto, Bachelor of Forestry and Master of Environment, PhD. He is a lecturer of Faculty of Forestry in UGM in Department of Wood Products Technology. He has an expertise in forest science, service field practice, forest product technology. He graduated in 2013 from the doctor program at Dr. Teknologi Hasil Hutan, Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology, Japan. He has already published a lot of submission, research, books. One of them is about his current journal in 2022, that is Properties of Randu Wood or Cheba pentandra, laminated boards with variations in lamina, saw patterns, and layered direction. Without further ado, our first keynote speaker, Dr. Tommy, you have 60 minutes to presentation, then followed by 30 minutes for Q&A session. Please give warm applause for our keynote speakers.
Thank you very much. Sorry, just for confirmation, can I have question? In my invitation, I will be 90 minutes for me, 60 minutes for presentation, and 30 minutes for quiz. Okay, don't worry. So, okay. Good morning, everyone. So I do apologize for another presenter that couldn't attend this morning. So I replaced him for the presentations. So I hope you enjoy my presentation and we will have a fruitful discussion. Okay. So I will share my presentation. So you have already know my name. My name is Tommy Listianto. I am a lecturer in Faculty of Forestry. I am also president of Indonesian Wood Research Society from 2021 to 2024. So in some of that, we have to concerns about wood production, especially we have to provide renewable energy for Indonesia. So today, I would like to present about bioenergy development in Indonesia, target, challenge, and current status. But maybe my presentation not cover all this idea in this title because only in 60 minutes. So before I continue my presentation, I have shared one paper and one pencil, and I would like to know who are you. So please write down your names and your university and your country in that bit of paper. And I need help for the committee to hand to me, please. Yeah, I prepare this. So please write down your name and your university coming from and also your country. Only one in the piece and then send to me, only one piece. Just one. Do you understand what I said? Pak, kalau sudah selesai tolong dibantu dikumpulkan ke saya. After that, please write down your idea about development of renewable energy in your country.
Okay, sorry. Maybe I will give the confirmation later.
Sorry?
I will give the confirmation regarding your regarding the paper, right? Okay, so for all of the participants, please write down your name, country, and
I think I do not need your translate. You want to explain what you want, or you want to explain my word? Sorry? Ya, saya bisa jelaskan sendiri. Atau mau kamu yang ngajar dulu? Okay. Yeah. So please write down your idea about renewable energy in your country. Please write down on the paper. After you write down your name, your country, your university. Okay? Any questions? No question? You don't understand what I said? Yeah? So what's the question? No question. I mean, you already know. Okay, so please. Just write down. Right. Yeah. And then hand to me after that. So 10 minutes, is it enough? 10 is enough. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you to working with other activities. I know that you are here, but sometimes you are working with other activities. Finish. Finish. Just give me a minute for scanning your answer. I think interesting answer from all of you regarding the idea of renewable energy. And today we will discuss about that because as you know, you can see from the presentation, that's our global challenge. I think you have familiar with this, so I don't want to explain this. Now, if we are discuss about greenhouse gases emissions by sector, the highest one is energy use in industry. And the second one from agriculture, forestry, and land use. And then continue by others, waste and the industry. So we have to concern about how we prepare the energy for our life. Of course, if we are from forestry, then we have to combine concerning agriculture, forestry, and also the energy. Indonesia, we have a production of forest area in Indonesia like this. It's too small, isn't it? From the protected forest area, around 29.5 million hectares. And limited production forest, 26.8 millions. And then production forest, 29.3, and converted production forest, 12.9. This is the production forest in Indonesia. And as you know, Indonesia have been facing critical problem. That's illegal logging. And our government try to solve the problem, but not easy. Because, do you know why? Why it's not easy to solve that problem? Illegal logging. Yeah, cutting the trees without any permission from state forest, for example.
The people who are living in mountains, so they don't have any other resource for cooking and but yeah, for cooking they need wood fire. So maybe they did these two reasons. One, the government can't approach because they can't reach those destination, and another reason they need something to cook. So
but how much they need wood for cooking?
As you know, in mountain, the people who are living in mountain, probably they are poor people. They don't have any other resources for earning money.
But of course, also not so many people living in mountain also. Yeah, I understand what you say because in Indonesia we have also problem with social problem that people have limited resources for their life.
Yeah.
Around who living around the forest. That's
But sometimes, yeah, it's in every country, cutting trees without permission of the government. It's very common in any country. But sometimes the government are trying hard, but due to corruption, that is the main problem. In I would say in all around the world, the government are trying, but some corrupt the officers. They do not allow them openly, but somehow they are involved. So that could be also one of the reason.
yeah, that's great answer. Yeah. That's kind of our problem also. That deforestation, not only because people who live around the forest need for cooking for life, but more than that, corruption is one of the big problem. Because if you have, no, we are facing election for the next years, and then our forest is in the danger time now, because sometimes they need money for the election. When, where they have to prepare the money for the election easily. It's not easy. Corruption is one of the answer. So if we can force to reduce the corruption, I believe that we can reduce also the deforestation. That's one idea. That's great. Any other idea? Long time ago, people who live in around the forest, they also cut the tree. They also take wood from the forest for cooking. They take non-forest product also for their life. But our forest was not destructed. But now, in the recent year, deforestation become higher. Of course, no, because decreasing because of some our efforts or government effort. Then if we consider about carbon dioxide absorption, if we plant trees, then we absorb carbon dioxide. Do you remember? CO2 plus H2O become C6H12O6 plus oxygen. Is it right? Then if we plant the trees, it means we absorb carbon dioxide. But if we cut the trees, then we cut the process of absorbing carbon dioxide. If we keep the product in the long time, or we can preserve the product, then we can store it, the carbon in the product, wood product. But if we burn, then we release atmosphere. Also, during cutting the trees, we also release carbon dioxide because of chainsaw, the transportations, etc. This is the example of the production of forest area distribution in Indonesia in 2022. You can see almost all the area of Indonesia. This is our export of forest product industry product in 2016 to 2021. Yeah. Officially, sometimes there are some illegal trading. Yeah. In 2018, I was expert witnesses in the court to show that almost 8 million cubic in 2018 cut illegally. And I prove that the wood come from the illegal process. You can imagine 8 million cubic. This is log production from natural forest 2017 to 2021. And then also log production from forest plantation. What's the difference between log from natural forest and log from plantation forest? Anyone want to answer? or I should point, but meet you in Japan, doki doki. Any Japanese student here? Yeah, doki doki. Wagarimashita. Doki doki. I was graduated from Tokyo Nokode. So from 2010 to 2013. I did my master in Australia. I did my PhD in Japan. There are two different culture, including education culture. So I can compare. Of course, also different in Indonesia. So Indonesia may be in between. For example, anyone student from Australia? No. In Australia, we are working and studying only until 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. And after that, people don't want to stay in campus. So when I was in Australia, I went to the laboratory, my laboratory in the corner of the university area. And after 4 o'clock, almost no student are living in campus. Maybe some of them in the library only, but in laboratory, almost none. I was working until 18 because I did a 50% course and 50% research. So I had to work until night. Yeah. And I asked my friend from Australia and also my supervisor, and they said, people who work after working hour is not good persons because they could not manage their time and their work, their perception. But when I was in Japan, I start study from 8:30 in the morning until minimum 10:30 p.m. at night. Minimum. When my supervisor come home 12 o'clock, then I will come back to my home 12:30. So I have to coming home after my supervisor back to their home. You can imagine 8:30 morning until 10:30 at night. So it's normal because in Japan, we have to show our effort, our progress. So sometimes if you don't show your progress, then it is not easy to believe that you are working hard. Okay. This is some of the culture, different culture about studying. How about your country? From Malaysia? No? When? Oh, early before, 4 hours, 4 p.m. From Thailand? I've been having short course in Chulalongkorn University for almost 1 month. How about in Katsitsat? Mm-hmm. 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 Stay in the university. It's a choice, yeah. So depend on us. Okay, great. So log from natural forest, we cut from established forest that normally that have absorbed up carbon dioxide, then we cut. But if we cut from the plantation forest, mean before cutting the forest, we have plant the trees. It means we also construct. So in our term, in the forest product technology, we have to cut the tree efficiently and we have to produce the product efficiently and we have to preserve. So the product can be used in the long time. So durable product. It means we can reduce the number of area of the forest that should be harvested. Then sometimes we have to consider fast-growing species, light wood species, because wood is a renewable material and wood has an advantage for structural application due to its strength width ratio, and also decreasing supply of lumber from natural forests, 88% since 2003. Also increasing the price of high quality lumbers, rising issue of the community forest for sustainable forest establishment. So if we choose fast growing species, then we also support community forests also. And also increasing the number of residential houses and furniture due to the increasing population. So Indonesia, one of the countries that have highest population in the world. Lightwood is minimalist and modern feel. Why? One of the perspective. Okay, come back to the what is Indonesian FOLU NET SINK, forest, other land use and other land use net sinks. We try to reduce the release of carbon dioxide and increase the absorption of the carbon dioxide. Deforestation, peatland fire, and peatland decomposition will contribute to carbon dioxide release or emission sources. If we plant the trees, regeneration, forestation, and also plant the trees, we reduce the emission and also increase carbon dioxide emission. So we try to make natural. Then one of the example is electricity rule in national development. When I was in Japan in 2010, the price of electricity is very cheap in Japan. But after tsunami in 2010, 11, March 2011, March, yeah, I was there. And then all the electricity from the nuclear power plant should be shut down due to that issue. And then immediately the price of electricity in Japan become increasing, I think until now. And then we have to consider reduce the number of fuel from coal and convert it into biomass or bioenergy. And then consider that we have to estimate the long-term economic growth in Indonesia. Why? Because during the economic growth, we need industry and also increase the population, increase the transportation. Then we need electricity. So, for example, the issue of electricity car, good or not? Because we do not use petroleum, we do not need kerosene. But if we use electricity, but electricity comes from coal, it's similar. We use electricity, but electricity comes from coal. And similar. Is it right? Then we have to consider that. We have to reduce the production of coal. This is one of a distribution of economic zones in Indonesia. Yeah, that's why we need electricity. There is a systemic cycles. Do we need electricity or do we need growth and then we need electricity? Without stable electricity, we could not increase the industry. But if we increase the electricity and then the increase of industry cannot be reached, it's also we have problem also. So that's not easy. Sampai jam berapa kita? 9.30 ya? Okay. Because I have combined between presentation and question, so I think if you have question, just raise your hand. Okay, I will make it short. For example, we develop integrated fisheries industry in Indonesia. Why we need electricity? Because we need storage to keep our fish. And then we need electricity to support our refrigerator. It's a big problem in Indonesia. For example, in the eastern part of Indonesia, that the source of electricity is very low compared to Java and Sumatra. Then we have to invest electricity in Papua, Maluku. Yeah. This is, for example, a supply chain of coal. So the price of coal in Java, Sumatra is very cheap, especially for DMO. You know DMO? DMO is a domestic market obligation. It's the price of the coal is reduced by law, by government to support power plant. Maybe just 10% of the normal price. No, around 900,000 rupiah, less than $100, I think, yeah, per ton. But if we consider in the eastern part, then we need higher price. But if we consider the source of the biomass, then we have to consider supply of biomass. If we consider supply chains of fuel, this is the share of the source of the fuel to all Indonesian area. In the eastern part, also expensive. This is liquid natural gases, supply chains. Then there are 10 development plans for biomass power plant and also bio power plant based on a national development plan. And we have planned until 2050. For example, in Seram and Ambon Island, have you been there? Anyone have been to Maluku? Yeah, this is a beautiful island. You can around the island only one day and very beautiful beach. Yeah, with very beautiful scenery. But electricity is problem in that area. Why renewable energy is important? Because renewable energy reduces environmental impact. Renewable energy benefit the economy, also provide more security, also support job growth, can improve public health, and of course, renewable energy is renewable. So I have a research with my student, Ise Sato, with him from Tokyo Nokode for master double degree program in our magister in forestry. Comparison study of empty fruit bunch utilization between the current practices in Indonesia and as fuel in Japan to reduce greenhouse gas emission. So this is, I think in Malaysia also, there are a lot of palm oil area. Biomass from palm oil production and empty fruit bunch. So from fresh fruit bunch can be converted into crude palm oil and also they produce biomass residue. And for the biomass residue, like they can be used for mulching, yeah, to the plantation. Mulching, bring the residue to the forest, only cover the forest to increase the reduce the porosity and also to increase as a fertilizer. And then incineration and ash application for fertilizer. That's 22 to 20% from the fresh fruit bunch. So it's huge. This is consumed inside the plantation. And then the study focusing on EFB utilization as fuel converted into pellet. Challenge to using FB outside mills as a power generation fuel. Okay, I will skip because this will be more one day. This is Japanese trend. They also need biomass for power plant. They have to convert from coal into biomass also. I will jump to the conclusion. So if we compare between scenario 1, scenario 2, and scenario 3, if we convert biomass into pellet production and send to Japan, then the emission, the greenhouse gas emission are negative, mean we have benefit to use empty fruit bunch converted into pellet and bring to Japan compared to mulching and incineration and then as fertilizer. This is our energy mix targets in Indonesian National Development Plan. We have to improve from 23%, from 5% into 23% in 2025, and then 31% into 2050. One of the strategy is co-firing. Co-firing is replacing coal in the power plant production into biomass, start from 5%. There are at least 52 co-firing for power plant across 26 provinces. That's equivalent to X billion tons of biomass. So this is the system of co-firing. So from the biomass, yeah, replacing the 5% until we study until 30%, but no, we are focusing on 5% from coal. Then put into combustion chamber and then become electricity. This is the distribution of our power plant, around 5,000 by diesels that we have to convert them. And the biomass resources in Indonesia. Biomass referred to as biorenewable sources from all organic materials, including plant matter, both living and in waste form, as well as animal matter and their waste product. So, source of biomass from forest plantation, social forestry, logging waste, land clearing, palm oil waste, agroforestry waste, and also household waste. The critical issue of household waste is separation. In Japan, when I was living there, we have to spirit our waste. This bottle, this is paper, this is organic. But in Indonesia, it's not easy to spirit. I don't know, in Malaysia, it's easy to do. Yeah. When I visit the waste, what we call, so we try to collect waste and then we process spirit in that area, convert into biomass only. It's expensive. And still in the organic product still consists of 60% plastic. So it's not easy. So the problem is expiration in the household. This is conversion of the energy. Can be a log, chunk wood, wood chip, wood pellet, wood circles. Also for fire, gasification, and also liquefaction. And then positive impact if forest product biomass is implanted for energy source. First, potency biomass in Indonesia available, renewable energy, sustainable energy, and not intermittent. Why the solar panel is not good choice? No, not the best choice, no. Solar panel, solar sources. Why? Because intermittent process, only in a day, we can absorb the energy in a day. We have to storage. The problem in the storage. Now we try to produce good storage, but the problem in nickel production, bauxite, etc. It's also expensive. If we can solve with the problem, then the solar sources is cheap. Increasing employment, because we need to plant the trees, we have to harvest and we have to process. And also potential to strengthen national energy security. If we depend on the LNG, we have to import. We depend on the petroleum, we have to import. Then our strength of the national energy security become decreasing. Can encourage regional economic growth. Also export potential of forest product as an energy sources. This is global pellet production. If we know there is war between Ukraine and Russia. The problem is a lot of wood from Ukraine and Russia, including pellet production, become decreasing in the world. 2 months ago, I have discussion with Austrian embassy. The lack of biomass that used to be from Russia and Ukraine. That's international problem. But the wood pellet industry in Indonesia is not too much. I think in Malaysia also. I have contacted person in Malaysia. We tried to visit in the pellet production from wood or from, but also there are very rare industry in there also. Processing of forest and agroforestry waste depend on the main product, various caloric values, suitable for area close to the wood industry. We have a wood industry center in Probolinggo, Gresik, Surabaya, Jepara, and Semarang, but cheap, but considered as additional sources. Sawdust also depend on main product. If we produce furniture, construction, etc., there is a waste as a sawdust, but also depend on the main product, similar. So if we want to sustain, then we need forest plantation for energy. So energy, forest plantation for energy. Suitable species, site adaptive, sustainable, proper caloric value, and should be the distance between the area and the power plant less than 100 kilometers. And there are several species that prospective for energy. Acacia auri, Acacia mayum, Caliandra, Gamal, and Eucalyptus or Clericity. They have good density and good caloric value and very short rotation. Here is the example of the trees. So I had a project to calculate how the area we need for 1 megawatt hours in different species. For example, we also conduct a study for power plant in Rembang. Rembang is northern part of central of Java. We have to cover the 5% production of biomass to support power plant. And also in Sukabumi. And then our study showed that for biomass production, it's around 51% ton per hectare for Kaliandra. So we can measure that, and then we need to calculate how the area we need for the supporting for power plant. And also we conduct ultimate and proximate analysis. There is no problem about the results. Also, we have tried to search, for example, of leaf of eucalyptus, have good calorie, but high content of chlorine. Chlorine is problem in the power plant. This is the processing flow of wood chip production. We do not need pellet. There are 3 types of boiler for power plant: stoker, CFB, and PC. For stoker, CFB, and PC, we need wood chip is enough. But the problem is how to handle, how to transport that. The calorie is okay, it's okay. The problem also in moisture content. We have to decrease the moisture content. The recovery of production in the waste season is around 28.57%. In the dry season, around 25%. This is option of the supply chain of biomass from the forest cut to transportation, and then cheaper, become wood chip, wood pellet, and then transported. Or we do not need storage in the forest, just directly to the industry. This is about biomass from palm oil. So from oil palm trees, we can see there are utilization of that for oil palm trunk, fresh fruit buns, oil palm ponds, yeah. And this also residual. Of course, main product is oil product, but we have residue. This is a potential of empty fruit buns in PTPN. PTPN is a national company of palm oil in Indonesia. And this is, we have studied about that, how to convert the empty fruit buns into pellet production. And then we calculate the recovery every single process. And then we have to check ultimate and proximate analysis. And also the result also good. Yeah, there are several scenarios of economical analysis. There is different economic price. And also we conduct sensitivity analysis that the problem is in the recovery. We can increase the recovery and then we can reduce the economical price. No, the problem in our progress of co-firing is economical price. I think that's one of my presentation. Any question about that? Yeah, 15 minutes for question. Yes, please.
Thank you for the presentation. My name is Nanda and I'm from Cameroon. So my question is to know if about the energy mix of Indonesia, you are not planning about nuclear energy. Is there any plan?
We have plan of nuclear energy. They are in Muria. Muria is the area of northern part of Central Java. According to our study, the number of earthquake is very low in Java. Yeah, because in Java we have various big frequency of earthquake, but there are some problem regarding the social effect because people still not believe that the power plant of the nuclear power safe for them because as you know in Russia and also the reason in Japan about the tsunami because of tsunami, not problem because of the earthquake, but because of the tsunami, then they break the secure system in the, so they still aware about it. If it happened, then how we should go or what the effect? That's the problem. But Indonesian government have planned to create nuclear power plant. We have 3 laboratories of nuclear power plant in Indonesia, including in Yogyakarta. Yeah, we have laboratories of nuclear studies. Do I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question?
No.
Okay. Yeah, actually, nuclear plant is safe until there is some case that we could not predict. Earthquake is not a problem for nuclear plant. If we prepare good barrier for tsunami, I think also there is no problem. The problem is our perspective for nuclear plant. Nuclear power plant is very safe and very environmental friendly. Yeah, I think.
I asked the question because in Africa, we have a lot of problem of electricity. Our electricity is mostly based on renewable energy, hydroelectric power, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
Energy is not even enough to supply the just the common consumption.
Yeah.
You are in the classroom like this and they just cut electricity because the power is not enough.
Okay.
So to improve our energy and like to be more competitive in terms of industry, we have to like diversify. But other people are always been telling us that no, what you are doing is good, but at the end of the day, you find yourself doing something that is good, but you are the last one in terms of economy and industry and everything. So now a lot of our leaders, they are planning like to think about nuclear energy because there's no earthquake in Africa.
Yeah.
Africa is very stable,
and
and we have the uranium, which is the main combustible for nuclear energy.
So you have to consider nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And if we consider solar panel, it's still expensive.
Yeah, some people also mention solar energy because Africa is almost sunny.
Yeah.
And mostly in the Sahel area.
Yeah.
In the desert, they have high temperature all over the year. So maybe in that area, they can consider to solar energy. But as you mentioned, the problem of storing the capacity of battery to store energy is not really mastered as for now. So we believe that nuclear energy is one of the best solution for energy in Africa now.
When I was studying master in Australia, we have to debate between pro and cons regarding nuclear power plant. Of course, there are some advantage and disadvantage regarding nuclear power plant. And the main reason of people who cons nuclear power plant is the safety of the human being. That's the main reasons. My group have studied regarding to the source of energy, windmill, wind energy, ocean wave, and then geothermal, biomass, solar panel. Of course, there can be some areas not good for wind energy. Even we have to try to establish in Japan, there is windmill in Akita. I was there. Do you know Akita Prefecture? Yeah, in the north, but in Nusiro, Akita Prefecture, there are a lot of windmill. But I think the track of the electricity so efficient, I think. Campaign that we have to progress in the wind energy is good. Indonesia still have low wind for the wind energy. Also, we calculate ocean wave in the eastern part, in the we call Saumlaki Island. If Saumlaki Island is near the Maluku Island, of course, when we cross, the wave is high. But if we measure and we try to convert into the energy, then as energy source, still unstable. Also, we measure the what else? We have many solar panel and etc. We have to combine, mix energy. Any other question? Yeah, please.
I have a general question. In Pakistan, the main source of electricity is hydroelectricity, around 33%. We also have nuclear energy and windmill in 10. But the problem is it's still not enough. As we know that nuclear energy is very safe. It does not affect the environment at all. So why not?
Until the accident happen, it's safe.
Almost, yeah. There's like we will have to bear that, but somehow it's much better because it does not affect the environment. So why not? These countries they plant nuclear energy plants so that they could produce the energy, the electricity. And how about Indonesia? What are the main sources of electricity, particularly not energy, just electricity? What are the main sources? Hydroelectricity and nuclear energy. So these two questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The main source of our electricity is from coal and also from hydroelectricity. We have a lot of them, but still not enough. But mostly coal, from coal, because we have a lot of coal sources in Indonesia. So the price also cheap compared to others. But the critical issue is the price from other countries is more higher than the price for domestic. That's why we need give them domestic market application. So company who mine coal, they have to prepare several percentage of their production to support our electricity plant with lower price. But actually, the real price, the normal price may be 10 times or 5 to 10 times higher in the market price. That's one answer. Second answer is regarding nuclear power in plant in Indonesia. It's one the option. But in Indonesia, there is a critical issue regarding the safety. Of course, educated person believe that nuclear power is safe, but we need example. And then that's why the government try to build one nuclear power plant. So if they can be built and we can see that the nuclear power plant is safe, then maybe in the next time we can build many nuclear power plant. But as our discussion, there's many pro and cons because there are several nuclear power plant in other countries that safe, but only one nuclear power extracted by another case or one case like tsunami or earthquake. People focus on that one, not focus the other that safe. Yeah, success story. That's our problem.
So the destruction with it erupts or like how like
in Indonesia we have earthquake. But as you know, we have several problem with earthquake. Compared to Japan, house is safe for the earthquake. But in 2006, we have problem in big earthquake in Yogyakarta and almost 1,600 people or passed away because of the earthquake, and also several cases. So people still don't believe that if we build nuclear power plant, then the building is safe for the nuclear power plant. That's the problem. How to make the people believe that our nuclear plant is safe. Just how to make the people believe, not how to make the nuclear power plant safe. Okay, we can build it safe, but how to make them believe, especially people around that area. That's our problem. Because demonstration in Indonesia can be very high. That's our problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But I have, so is it necessary to plant the power plant in Yogyakarta? We just plant it in the area where there is no population. In further area, without like, why like you will have to ask the people. Yeah, it's also an issue. You will have to convince the people. It's their country. They have the right to inform that we are going to plant something. But why not in some, Indonesia is very big, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of empty spaces in empty lands. So why not there? Why like in the population area, the plants?
Yeah, we have in the Center of Energy study. And then as far as I know, we have already have plan, but execute that plans of that sometimes because of politics, especially this year. It's not easy in this year. Everything that government do will be connected into the election, and it's pro and cons depend on us. So normally, maybe after election, then we can start again. But they have plan, especially in Java, in around 200 kilometers from Yogyakarta. They have planned to build a nuclear power plant in the hill of the mountain. We call it Muria Mountain. If we can prove that, then we can promote. That's our culture. It's not easy.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
3 minutes left. Any other question? Yes, please, Takasin.
Thank you very much for your nice lecture. So because you are specialists of energy, so that's why I have the questions. My question is about biomass power plant in Indonesia current situations. So as you know, there are so many the biomass power plant in Japan, and also the FIT policy promote the construction of biomass power plant in Japan. But they use the Japanese cheddar, Sugi cheddar, wood chip of Japanese cheddars, and also we use the PKs. So we import the PKs from Indonesia and Malaysia. But on the other hand, now we have the challenge that many biomass power plant face the shortage of the material because of the number is too many. So that's why I want to know how is the current situation of biomass power plant in Indonesia, and does Indonesia also have the plan to use the PKs to create the energy? So this is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Takasin, for the question. First, the current status of biomass power plant. Now we have a co-firing project that co-firing reducing the number of coal and then replaced by biomass. So start from 5%. This is easy because the type of boiler was established for the coal, but we can change the coal, but only 30%. We have a simulation about the boiler. But in other places, there are also biomass power plant, but the intensity is not so big. Only maybe less than 1 megawatt hour, maybe 200 or 500. And of course, only for the small area around them. But there's some problem regarding the sources, but actually not because of technical things, but non-technical things like communication between the biomass supplier and also the biomass power plant, and also there are some problem with social problem. So because for example in the Mentawai Island we have also, and also in Nusa Tenggara we have also, and some part of Indonesia we have already biomass, but there is some problem. And the biomass production like briquette and stuff we also have in Indonesia, but the culture of Indonesia is not easy. They still want the convenient stove, for example, like if we use LNG, we just click, then fire. If we use briquette, we need to flame, make ignited, and then we have to wait. Even the price is lower, but the convenience the different. But I think in the future we have to consider the effect of using coal. We have to reduce, and our agreement we have to eliminate coal in 2060. 10 years later than other countries. In most countries in the world, they agree in 2050, but in Indonesia, in 2060, because we have coal production. No, there are several forest plantation. I heard more than 200 forest plantation for energy already established to support that. The problem is economical price, because price for biomass still compared to the coal with domestic obligation, market obligation that less than 1 million rupiah. In our calculation, we need almost 1.5 million for the biomass production to have good price. If we export it, we can sell until 3 million. Send to Japan, send to Korea, send to other countries. That's our problem. But market of energy in the world still hidden market. If you don't have connection, then you can be sink. My answer.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing the current stress. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I think time is up, and I return to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tommy, for the presentation regarding the bioenergy development in Indonesia. And before we're going to proceed to the coffee break session, please everyone, ladies and gentlemen, rise from your seat and take photo together with Dr. Tommy as our appreciation as for being the first keynote speaker of today. And please, the OC in charge to prepare the camera to take the documentation together. Okay, please everyone rise from your seat to take a picture together in front of here. Okay, yeah, we have souvenir for the active participants during the discussion. Thank you so much, Dr. Tommy, for the for the gifts. Yeah. Please, for the participants, you can move to the left side here. Thank you so much, Dr. Tommy. And please, everyone, take your seat back. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Tommy, for having you as our first keynote speaker of today. Okay, after this, we will have a coffee break session and come back here at 10 a.m. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat back because we will start our second session at 10:10 a.m. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again at the second session for today's lectures. For our second today lectures is about, sorry. We will discuss about silviculture approaches to transforming forest plantation to native tropical forests in IKN Forest City. Sorry. For the second topic is about oil palm agroforestry, potential adoption for industry and small-scale farmers in Indonesia. So our second keynote speaker of this day is Dr. Eka Tarwaca. He is a lecturer of Faculty of Agriculture, UGM. He has an expertise in agricultural and veterinary sciences, plant pathology, crop and pasture production. He graduated in 2010 from the doctor program at Crop Science Institute of Tropical Agriculture, University Putra, Malaysia. He has already published a lot of submission research and books. One of them is about his current submission at this year. It's about optimization bumper learning space as techno-social entrepreneurial concept university and bridging facilities of academics and society. And also for this second topic, will be moderated by Mr. Akmal. So without further ado, Mr. Akmal as our second moderator, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. And this is my fourth session as your moderator. And then our session today will discuss about oil palm agroforestry, as mentioned before by the Master of Ceremony. And then maybe I can give some introduction that oil palm has been rapidly expanding in Indonesia and becoming an important export commodity for the country. However, oil palm production has been promoted only as a monoculture, and then we need to find for the third way between oil palm and forestry. So this is in our session today, we have amazing speaker, Dr. Eka Tarwaca, that will speak about oil palm agroforestry. So Dr. Eka, please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator, Pak Akmal. Sorry, I will try to share my slide. Thank you very much, Pak Akmal, to give me chance to share some of my research background, and thanks you also to Faculty of Forestry that give me chance to join with this very important meeting. And in this session, I would like to try to share with you in case of oil palm agroforestry, potential adoption for company and smallholder in Indonesia. And before we continue with the topics, I would like to share to you about the content of this topic. We will try to discuss oil palm profile in Indonesia. And the second one, we try to discuss on upon the scenario, how to increase the CPO production in Indonesia. And the third, we will try to discuss in case of yield gap in our oil palm plantation. And in the last topics, we will try to discuss about agroforestry as one of the scenario to increase oil palm yield, especially in Indonesia. And hopefully, for the future, agroforestry will be the main scenario to have possibility to increase the palm oil production. Let's go to the first topics. I will try to share upon profile of oil palm, Indonesian oil palm. Okay, from this slide, we know that as mentioned by Pak Akmal before, that we have huge production of CPO. And based on the statistical data, latest data 2022, we know that right now our production of CPO is near to 60 million ton of CPO in a year. And is it good for Indonesia? But from the slide, we will know what is the problem or why the production of CPO increase in Indonesia. And we will know that the driving force of the increasing of CPO production in Indonesia, that's due to area expansion. From this data, we know that within the last 20 years, palm oil production in Indonesia increased because of area expansion. From the left graph, we know that our palm oil area increased up to 400% up to now. And let's go to check with the productivity. Based on the productivity, we know that within the last 20 years, our productivity quite stagnant. There are no improvement in terms of CPO production in our field in Indonesia. So based on the first slide and also the second slide, we know that the main problem, the main driving force why our CPO production increased because of area expansion near to 400%, but our productivity still stagnant up to now. So because of that, in case of our area in agriculture, we try to develop some innovation how to improve the CPO productivity, the total CPO per hectare. That's our target for the future. And hopefully, agroforestry will be one of the scenario. Okay, from the slide, we know about the profile of our plantation, Indonesian oil palm plantation, and based on this data, we can differentiate our plantation into 3 groups. The first one is plantation that managed by smallholder. The proportion near to 42% from the total, and the second one area that managed by private company. The proportion is dominant, near to 53% from the total, and the third, the plantation that managed by state-owned company, by government. We call in Indonesia BUN, and the proportion is only 5%. So from this figure, we know that some of the area of plantation in Indonesia managed by private company and also by smallholder. And in case of smallholder, the area is quite big, near to 7 million hectares in Indonesia. But compared to the plantation managed by the company, the situation of smallholder is quite the position is quite less than compared to company. We can check from the productivity. We know that the smallholder, the capacity of CPO production per hectare only 3.4 ton per hectare, compared to the plantation that managed by company near to 4 ton of CPO per hectare. So we still have problem with the smallholder, and hopefully with the agroforestry approach, we will able to modify, we will able to improve the CPO productivity, especially for the smallholder. And we will try to identify why the CPO productivity of oil palm in Indonesia quite low compared to the potential because of many problems, and especially for the smallholder, one of the main problem is most of the smallholder, they unable to access some of input. For example, fertilizer. They don't have access to have the fertilizer. And the second one, some of the smallholder, they don't have access to have good quality of planting material. So if we check the proportion of oil palm age in the smallholder, most of our plantation dominated by the elder oil palm trunk, yeah. Near to 20% of our plantation area from the smallholder dominated by the plant that the age is more than 25 years. Actually, from the oil palm, the better condition is we try to manage the oil palm up to 25 years, and after 25 years, we need to have replanting activity. But right now, we have problem with the replanting activity, and some of the plantation still with the unproductive, non-productive oil palm stand because of too old. Okay, let's go to check some of the scenario to increase our CPO production. Okay, the first question is it possible? Is it possible to increase our CPO production through the area expansion? And based on our study, right now, very difficult. That means impossible, because we have many barrier, not only local barrier, but also the international barrier. And based on our identification, we for the area expansion, we have 3 barriers. The first is implementation of RED 2 and Delegated Act in the European Union 2018, and from the regulation, we know that palm oil is one of the crop that high risk, I look indirect land use change. So I think right now impossible to increase our area expansion of oil palm because of this regulation. And the second is our local regulation of moratorium on forest and peatland clearing permit for the plantation and logging. We call Impres number 5, 2019, and also moratorium on new permit for oil palm plantation regulation from the government, Impres number 8, 2018. So because of these 3 barrier, I think impossible to increase our CPO production through area expansion. So because of area expansion, impossible to increase our productivity, to increase our production. So we need to find other scenario. And based on our experience, actually to improve and increase our CPO production, one of the scenario is we need to increase the productivity through intensification. So from this slide, we have conclusion that to increase our CPO production, especially in Indonesia, the only one scenario is how to improve the productivity with the intensification, because impossible to increase our planting area because of barriers. And for the next slide and for the next topics, we will try to focus only in intensification scenario. Okay. In case of intensification, actually, this area is agronomic area, and we still have some problems, so we need to improve with some innovation. When the final target is to increase the CPO productivity per hectare of our plantation. And I think we will have many challenges to improve our productivity in oil palm area. Okay, let's go to check with GCAP in our plantation. And based on our previous slide, we know that the only one scenario is intensification, but we still have many challenges in intensification of oil palm, and we try to identify why many challenges in oil palm plantation in terms of intensification. Because right now in our plantation, most of them, we still have wider yield gap. I will try to show to you some of the data about the yield gap in oil palm plantation. Okay, based on this slide, we will consider that there are three types of productivity. We can differentiate the productivity into three terms. The first one is yield potential, and the second one is attainable yield, and the last one is average yield or existing yield. So from this slide, we know that for the average yield, actually we still have many gaps. We see in this slide, there are three colors. Green colors is the potential. The yellow colors is the most possible if we manage the oil palm. Value is 0.7 from the potential, and the last is the red color. This color, this situation is our oil palm productivity existing. If we try to compare between the red color and yellow color, we know that we still have gap in case of existing productivity compared to most possible productivity. We manage the oil palm in the optimum situation. So from this aspect, we can conclude that we still have big opportunity to improve our production through the intensification. Okay, these are the detailed data, and from this we know that our plantation area still have gap, and the gap is not small but wider. You can check from the potential yield compared to the existing yield. From this data, we know that our variety, up to now, we have some variety that the potential is up to 8 tons of CPO per hectare per year. But if we try to check in the plantation, average in our plantation, the CPO productivity is only 3 to 3.5 tons CPO per hectare in a year. So 8 tons compared to 3 tons. What is the meaning of this data? From this data, we know that in this situation, our realization of productivity only less than 50% from the potential. So we still have many opportunity to improve our existing productivity of oil palm to have a chance to increase our CPO production in a year. So and based on this data, we will have a conclusion that to improve and increase our CPO production in a year, basically no need to expand our area of plantation, because in case of productivity, land productivity, our realization is only 50% compared to the potential. So we still have gap up to maybe 7 tons of CO2 per hectare per year. But to have the optimum yield, we need to think about the innovation, how to innovate the cultivation in the area of oil palm in the field to improve the productivity of CPO in a hectare in a year. Okay, and from this slide, we also know that our fresh fruit bunch productivity right now, especially from the smallholder, only 40 tons of fresh fruit bunch per hectare per year, compared to the attainable yield, that our attainable yield will be able up to 33 tons per hectare of fresh fruit bunch. So from this value, we can conclude that our realization is only less than 50% compared to attainable yield. So we still have big opportunity to reach the ideal production, to reach the ideal productivity. Okay, we know that in our plantation area, we still have wider yield gap, and this is our challenge. And to have the better solution, so we need to identify why our realization of production, why our realization of productivity only 50% from the potential. We need to identify what is the problem. What is the main problem in the area of oil palm? Why up to now we still have wider yield gap? Okay, based on our experience in the research project, we will able to differentiate many factors that relate to yield gap in case of oil palm, and some of the driving force will relate to agriculture, will relate to agronomy. And from this figure, we know that the main problem why we still have wider yield gap is about nutrient management. So if we want to reach the opportunity to increase our productivity, so one of the solution is how to manage the nutrition into optimum situation. And the second problem is about harvesting. Some of our facility to harvest the crop, some of them able to create losses, and losses will also relate to yield gap. So to minimize yield gap, we need to make sure about the harvesting process, the equipment, and also the labor. And the third is planting material. So we need to choose the best variety, the best planting material to have the optimum yield of oil palm. And the fourth, the driving force is about weeds. And up to now, we still have problem with the weeds. So we need to control weeds to have the optimum productivity of oil palm. And the next, we need to have pruning activity, soil cover, pest and disease management, and also minimize the frequency of dura. And I will give you information that in the oil palm area, actually we have 3 types of materials. The first is dura. Dura is female parent, and the second is we call Piscifera. Piscifera we use as the male flower, male parent, and the cross between Dura and Piscifera we will have Tenera. Tenera is cross between Dura and Piscifera. To have the optimum productivity of CPO, actually we need to make sure that 100% of stand in the area we need to use only Tenera type, because Tenera type will have higher productivity and higher quality compared to Piscifera and also compared to Dura. But in case of our patient, in especially for the smallholder, sometime in the area of oil palm we can find Dura stand sometime more than 50%. So very difficult to improve our productivity if the proportion of Dura is quite big. So we need to have to maintain the planting material to make sure that we only the farmer only plant Tera type, not Dura type. Okay. First, I will try to discuss to share with you about the problem with nutrient deficiency in the area in the area of oil palm, and I have mentioned before that the main problem why we still have the wider yield gap because of nutrient deficiency, and the most important problem of nutrient deficiency is related to potassium. Why potassium? Because in case of oil palm, we harvest the fruit, and to have the good quality of fruit and bigger size of fruit, we need the supply of potassium. And up to Indonesia still import from Canada, from Russia, Ukraine, some of the potassium coming from China. So because of the supply and demand of potassium right now in Indonesia, we have a problem with supply of potassium. So in our research, we try to find scenario to have enough potassium with other material. And I think in the oil palm industry, we have some materials that able to use as source of potassium. We can collect from the palm oil mill. There are many biomass that able to produce good quality and high quantity of potassium to replace the potassium that import from the outside, synthetic potassium. And actually the problem not only related with the potassium, we have also problem with magnesium. We have also problem with boron, phosphorus, and also nitrogen. But from this type of essential element, the main problem is related to potassium because for the potassium, Indonesia is net importer of potassium, and potassium is very important to have the high quantity of fruit and also high quality of fruit to have good quality of oil. And from this data, we know that 90% of our plantation area, they have problem with potassium deficiency. And 60% of our plantation area, we have problem with nitrogen, phosphorus, and also boron. So we have the answer why up to now still have wider gap in terms of productivity. And the main problem is due to nutrition. Why nutrition is the main problem? Because based on the evaluation, actually our land, our plantation, our oil palm field, they lack some nutrient, especially for potassium. And the total is near to 90%. Only 10% of our plantation have enough level of potassium. Only 10%. So our scenario is how to make sure that nutrient supply in our plantation is under ideal situation. Is it possible to relate only from the synthetic input from the factory for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium? actually may be very difficult. Some of our farmer, they have access to have the synthetic input because maybe they don't have enough money, they don't have access because maybe also less supply. So as a researcher, we try to develop other scenario how to improve the nutrient level in the oil palm area with the more sustainable scenario. And hopefully through the agroforestry approach, the problem with the nutrient will overcome. So from the next slide, we will try to discuss with you about the opportunity of agroforestry to overcome the water problem, to overcome the nutrient problem. Okay. Let's go to see the scenario to increase our oil palm yield through the agroforestry. And basically, based on our experience and also based on our research, actually, for the future, agroforestry will be the important scenario to have higher productivity, to have sustainable productivity, to overcome climate change factor. And actually, we right now we still have oil palm in the open system agriculture, and we know that in the open system agriculture, climate is very important. So in our world right now, we have climate change situation, and from the climate change, we know that there is an increase in terms of temperature, and sometimes we have long dry season. For example, this year, you know that this year in our country, in Indonesia, we will have El Nino, and maybe the season for this year, maybe we will have maybe November and some part of Indonesia maybe December. So because of we manage the oil palm in the open system agriculture, and the productivity is very related to the environment. And right now the environment is changed in case of land, in case of soil, in case of climate change. So hopefully agroforestry approach will be one of the scenario to improve the adaptability of our oil palm plantation in Indonesia to have the stable productivity. Okay, and from the slide, I will try to share with you about the main issue in oil palm intensification program. And from the previous, we have discussed, we have long discussion on the weather yield gap in the Indonesian oil palm plantation. And if we differentiate the issue, actually we will have 5 issues that relate to yield gap in our oil palm plantation. And the first issue will be related to planting material. And the second issue will relate to nutrient status. And the third issue will relate to soil and water conservation. The fourth issue will relate to pest and disease. And the most important disease in oil palm is because of Ganoderma boninense. And up to now, we still under serious situation of Ganoderma because there are no effective pesticide to control the Ganoderma. So we need to find out the problem with Ganoderma with other scenario. And the last issue is about infrastructure. So if we want to improve our productivity, so we need to consider with these 5 issues. And hopefully some of the issue will overcome by agroforestry approach, especially from the second issue, the third issue, and also the fourth issue. And we have discussed at the previous that in case of nutrient, we have problem with the availability of nutrient, especially for potassium. So we need to find out with the good scenario how to improve the availability of potassium in our field. But we need to change our strategy, not depend on the synthetic potassium, but is it possible to improve the potassium level with the sustainable resources in our environment? We will check from the next slide. And in case of soil and water conservation, these two issues also very important. And Pak Akmal already mentioned in the preface that most of our oil palm right now is cultivated with monoculture system. And if we check the monoculture system, so maybe based on our experiments, we will have problem with the conservation of soil and also water. Why the soil and water will be the problem in the monoculture system? Because monoculture system actually the coverage of the land from the vegetation, I think, very minimum. So we will have problem with soil erosion and water lack due to less water inside the soil because of we don't have scenario of rainwater harvesting with the improvement of soil characteristic, especially physical characters. And actually agroforestry will very important in terms of soil and water conservation inside the oil palm plantation. And the related to Ganoderma, based on our experience, actually right now we don't have effective pesticide to control the Ganoderma. So we need to find out with the scenario. And actually in case of Ganoderma, hopefully biocontrol system will be more effective compared to chemical control with the pesticide. And if we will consider with the biocontrol system, actually we need to modify our environment. And to have the effective of a biocontrol system, actually biocontrol system is impossible if we manage the oil palm with the monoculture system. And the most possible is we need to have agroforestry system. Okay. In this slide, I would like to share with you about the operational in crop production system. Our end target in the operational activity is how to have good profit in the plantation sector. So to have the good profit in terms of crop production system, the most important is we need to maintain the output and also the input. And we will have good profit if our output is bigger compared to the input. And based on this figure, we need to identify how to control the input and how to control the output of crop production system. Okay, maybe I would like to share with you first with the output management. And from this variable, we know that output of the crop production system will depend on two factor. The first is production volume, and the second one is quality of product. So if we want to have bigger output, we need to maximize our production volume, and then we also need to maximize our product quality. That's the two keys that we need to have more value of output to become profit. And from the right side, if we check the input, we can make sure we will able to make sure that input is production cost, and production cost will depend on the two variables. The first one is material, and the second one is labor. And from the material, we differentiate. Most of the material will relate to input in our crop production system. There are many types of input. First one is planting material. The second one is fertilizer. The third one is pesticide. The fourth one may be herbicide, and etc. And from many type of input, we will have cost. So to have the good potential of profit, we need to increase our value of output, and we need also to minimize our value of input. And related to the value of input, one of the main factor is we need to control the cost of material, fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide, etc. And based on our experience, actually to have efficient input, very difficult if we manage the crop with the monoculture system, because in the monoculture system we will very depend on the external input, and all the external input we need to buy with the money, because we use the product from the company. For example, fertilizer, herbicide, pesticide, we need to buy in the product. And right now the price of product is they change the price, not increase the price, but change the price bigger. So actually in the monoculture system in agriculture, maybe for the future, very difficult to have good benefit, very difficult to have profit, because if we depend on the external input, that means will be more cost. So the value of input will be bigger, and will pass the value of output. So that's the problem. And if we don't have profit, that means our crop production system will not sustain, because to have sustainable, we need to profit. And based on this graph, we know that to have a good profit, so we need to maintain our output, and we need also to maintain our input, and some of the input will relate to material that will use in the production system. And hopefully with the agroforestry approach, some of the input will available inside the system, so no need for the planter, no need for the farmer to buy from the oil. And I think from this situation will more effective for the farmer to have enough profit to improve the operation. And from this slide, we also know that if very difficult to have profit from the oil palm, with the agroforestry, actually we have possibility to get output from other type of crops, because in the agroforestry we try to mix, we try to add other species of crop inside the oil palm plantation. So the farmer, the planter, they will have other product beside the fruit from the oil palm. So through the diversification, actually the situation will be more easy for the farmer also, and also for the company to have rational profit. Okay, we have some area that right now try to cultivate the oil palm with the agroforestry system, and they try to mix oil palm with other type of crops, for example durian, avocado, and other type of crops. And also in this picture we know that some of the trees also able to enter to the oil palm plantation. And actually right now we have good experience in some area. We took this picture from Sumatra, from Rio. Okay, this is the situation of oil palm plantation, and that try to transform from monoculture system to agroforestry system. And from this picture, we know that yeah, there will be many benefits if we have transformed the plantation from monoculture system to mixed system. For example, in here we know that there are many biomass on the surface of land, and from the biomass actually we will have some benefits. The biomass will release some nutrient. The biomass will manage the water inside the soil. The biomass will increase our soil water holding capacity. So within the season, the oil palm still have enough water supply, and this situation will maintain the productivity in the good level. But in the monoculture system, actually very difficult to have enough biomass to improve our soil characters. In the monoculture system, there are less biomass, and if less biomass, that means we will depend to the supply of fertilizer from synthetic input, and sometimes not available in the market. And but with the system, I think we will have opportunity. Okay, these are the condition of our oil palm plantation that cultivate with monoculture system, and there are some problem with soil characteristic, and due to cover of land, we will have problem with the soil retention, especially soil water holding capacity will be decreased because most of the rain become runoff. Only few of water will penetrate to the soil. So within the dry season will be no water in the plantation area. And because of high level of runoff, some of the topsoil will remove from the soil surface, and our plantation will have problem because topsoil is very important to improve our productivity. And if the plantation they have lack of cover, the plantation system will more sensitive to drought, and also some nutrient problem will happen. And I have checked the characteristic of chemical, especially from the C organic level. From this figure, we know that within the 5 years, from 2009 up to 2014, the C organic level in the plantation monoculture system, the level of C organics decreased, and most of our plantation area right now, the level of C organics very low, less than most of them less than 1%. So is it possible to improve the productivity if our C organic level in the soil less than 1%? Actually, impossible. So one of the scenario how to improve our yield, we need to make our soil health, and to create soil health, we need to improve our C organic in the soil, because right now very low, because less than 1%. So if our plantation, the C organic level is very low, less than 1%, if we apply the fertilizer, will be not effective, because the root unable to catch the nutrient, and some of the nutrient will be lost to the environment, and this also problem, because if the nutrient come to the river, come to the water table, will be a pollutant. Our environment will have problem with emission. So we need to have systemic scenario to improve our oil palm plantation, and one of the variable is how to improve our C organic level. We need to increase application of biomass, and actually very difficult to improve the biomass if we conduct cultivation of oil palm with the monoculture system, and actually more easy if we manage the oil palm with the mixed cropping. One of them is agroforestry system. Okay, and from the agroforestry system, we will have benefit because in our plantation we will have possibility to improve our soil organic matter, and if our soil organic matter increase, that means the organic also increase, and the benefit is we will have a higher nutrient use efficiency. So our application of fertilizer will more effective compared to soil with less organic matter. And if we able to improve the soil organic matter, that means we also have possibility to minimize the pollution to the environment, because only less chemical come to the environment, because some of them will catch by the root and will absorb by the crop and will be come to the product of oil palm. So agroforestry system hopefully will give us benefit because of improvement of soil organic matter, and actually this matter is very important because we need to improve our soil biological trait, we need to improve our soil chemical trait, and also we need to improve our soil physical trait. And based on our data, actually right now we have problem with the biological trait, with the chemical trait, and also with physical trait. And because of this problem, our yield right now still have a wider gap. That's the challenge. Okay. Okay. I would like to show to you the comparison with some characters of soil in the two areas. The first is area with the high level of soil organic matter, and the other area is with the low level of soil organic matter. The soil characteristic is very, very different. For example, the first one is soil permeability. If we improve the soil organic matter, that means permeability of soil will increase 1.04 compared to 5%. That's very compared to 5 centimeter per hour. Very, very difficult. Very, very different. And from the chemical properties also different. Nitrogen level, phosphorus level, potassium level, magnesium level, catechison capacity also improve if we improve our soil organic matter. And not only the chemical, not only the physical, our biological also improve. We have checked the comparison between low level of soil organic matter and the area with high level of soil organic matter. The density of microbe also improve, and from we know that total of good bacteria, total of good fungi, total of macrofauna, total of mesofauna, total number of earthworm. From this data improve. We know that improve. The population improve because if we add some organic matter to the soil, that means there are more food in the land, in the soil, and if there are many food in the soil, that means the situation will good by for the microbiome in the soil. So and the future is our life depend on this, and we will have benefit from the microbe because some of the microbe also will act as growth promoting rhizobacteria and PGPR, and PGPR they will able to supply some nutrient and also some plant growth promoting, and from this maybe we will able to increase our cost efficiency. Okay, and from this slide, we also known the benefit of the improvement of soil organic matter in the soil, and in case of microbe, the population is increased, and some of the microbe have possibility to become plant growth promoting bacteria, and if our plantation reach in term of microbe, that means we will able to create independent crop production system. Why independent? Because our plantation quite dependent from the outside input from the outside, and from this slide we know that some of microbe they have potential to become plant growth promoting as a nutrient supplier and also plant growth promoting supplier. So if the situation happen, actually the farmer, the planter have possibility to minimize, to make the input efficient and more easy to good profit. Okay, this is the picture in Sumatra, the oil palm plantation area that they transform from monoculture system to agroforestry system, and actually based on some variable, in this situation we some of the trees come to the plantation area, and they have also cover, and actually we know that oil palm, if we differentiate in case of physiological process, actually physiological process of oil palm is in the C3 groups, and we know that for the C3 groups, actually they have ideal situation if they have enough shedding that come from trees, and we know that right now we have climate change situation, temperature in Sumatra, in Kalimantan, Papua right now increase, and within the dry season, some of the oil palm stand they have problem with the metabolic activity because of too high temperature, and the trees will have benefit, will give benefit to the oil palm, because the trees inside the oil palm plantation will modify the microclimate, and actually we need to modify the microclimate in the oil palm plantation area, because if we have capability to modify, that means the microclimate become more stable, and to the high productivity of oil palm, we need to make the situation of microclimate to more stable. And with the agroforestry system, actually the microclimate inside the plantation area more stable compared to the monoculture system, because of the service from trees. Okay, that's similar. Okay, this is one of our pilot project with the farmers in Kalimantan, and they try to mix oil palm with other type of species from, for example, pineapple, rubber, albizia, sorea, and etc. Okay, I have mentioned and the previous that in the monoculture system and agroforestry system, in case of oil palm pits, basically with the agroforestry system, we can make sure that agroforestry system will improve the soil organic matter in the soil, and it will have a positive impact into water in the area of oil palm. So the below picture, you can see that differentiation between oil palm with monoculture system and oil palm with agroforestry system. In the agroforestry system, the surface of water quite wet, and the color also blackish compared to monoculture system. Why the color of soil become blackish in the agroforestry system? Because with the agroforestry system will be more soil organic matter, and with the decomposition of organic matter, they will improve the characteristic of soil, physical and also chemical. But with the monoculture system, because of less supply of organic matter, the color of soil quite white, yeah, because we know that some area in Kalimantan for the mineral soil, some of them are sandy soil, and the color sometimes white, and that's the indicator of soil health. If we able to improve, if we able to change the color of soil from white to blackish, it means soil fertility also increase. Okay, these are many pattern of agroforestry system in some area of Sumatra, in Jambi. Farmers in that area try to add some other species inside the oil palm plantation. They have many scenario. For this, they use insertion. They try to insert some of species into oil area. And actually, from this picture, we will have conclusion that if the farmers try to add some species inside the oil palm area, they will have more product in the same area, because they will have product from other crops beside the oil palm. And actually, in terms of economic situation, actually this will be better compared to monoculture system. But the most important thing is how to manage the site, how to manage the area, how to manage the site, how to manage the space, because we need to make sure that other crops that insert inside the oil palm plantation and they have enough supply of input, for example, light, nutrient, water, and especially for the light, that's very important. So we need to choose what type of species of crop that able to live together with the oil palm. That's the most important to have success in agroforestry. Okay, actually, farmers they have possibility to many types of agroforestry system, alley cropping, insertion, trees along the block system, selection of male or abnormal oil palm. And just for your information, that especially for smallholder, actually they lack with the planting material because they don't have access to have the good planting material. So they just try to find planting material from the environment and then collect and then plant. So due to the lack of planting material, some of the crop, some of the stand after mature, some of them male and some of them abnormal stand. So from the male and abnormal stand, the farmer they don't have yield, and we try to suggest to the farmers to cut the male stand and also abnormal stand and replace by other species to become agroforest system. Okay, and that's all. Thank you very much for the time, and I will give the time to Pak Akmal. Thank you.
Okay. Well said, Dr. Eka. Thank you very much for the explanation about oil palm agroforestry. We began from the oil palm profile or landscape in Indonesia, and then we moved to scenario to increase oil palm yield through the agroforestry system. So we're gonna moving to Q&A session. Is there any question? Maybe we have 1, 2, 3 questions. Any question?
Hello, good morning, Dr. Eka Tarwaca. Can you hear me?
Morning.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, my name is Randy. I'm from local NGO in Bangka Belitung Province. It's quite interesting presentation. I would like to ask, like you have already presented about agro. I call it like as a agro extractivism or agroforestry. That we know, like you have already mentioned, that the expansion of palm oil plantation in the last 20 years is quite significant. And then the problem is the productivity is still stagnant until now. The main problem is the realization of productivity get used to spur conflict and problematic circumstances like land grabbing. Therefore, the local people and smallholder often experience the exclusion and lost their land due to the company or state oil palm company expansion. So in the name of productivity, the vast majority of large-holder palm oil plantation tend to hamper and grab the land and smallholder palm oil of local people, whether by violence of state apparatus or local freemen. As we know, Mr. Eka, as we know, the practice of the smallholder palm oil plantation, in my opinion, is more inclusive, more distributive, and then more justice, because the logic of the communality and the spirit of the common resources is better and stronger. So as we know, the ISM has so many limitation, like the lack of technology, lack of capital, lack of skill, like you have already mentioned, like the lack of knowledge, labor, and so on. So my question is, what do you think about the scenario of strengthening the productivity on the one hand, but it will not hamper and violate the local people, particularly the right of local indigenous people, palm oil plantation. This is very problematic because the property right of the local people is quite is quite low. I call it like as a pseudo property right. Yeah, maybe I hope you get my point. So I just hope that how to strengthen the spirit of productivity, but it must prioritize the destiny of the local palm oil plantation. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Dr. Eka, please.
Pak Kamal, is it direct to respond?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, directly answer. Bye.
okay. Okay. Thank you, my colleague from Bangka Belitung. And yes, actually, in terms of total production of our CPU, right now our position is maybe in the first position, in the world. And but if we check with the more detailed data, actually the main driving force of the increase of our production is due to the area expansion, because our area expansion in the last 20 years increased near to 400%. And if we check with the productivity, we know that within the last 20 years, the productivity is stagnant, under stagnant situation. So we will able to make sure that our plantation, our oil palm plantation actually based on the productivity, not in the good position, because we use our land not effective. From our slide, you know that in the 1 hectare of the land, in the 1 hectare of oil palm plantation, if we manage in the good condition, actually we will able to have maybe 7 tons of CPU per hectare per year. But right now, in most of our area, we have only 3 tons. That means less than 50%. And the situation not only happen in the smallholder farmer, but most of our big company, private company, private and also the state-owned company, the activity also still not under good situation, because still 4 ton of CPU. That means only 50% also from the ideal productivity. So actually, from this figure, we have conclusion that we still have big opportunity to improve, to increase our production without increase our palm area. And actually, right now we don't have possibility because there are many barriers, and especially for the smallholder. Actually, the position of oil palm plantation smallholder in Indonesia is very important, because the proportion is 42% from the total. And based on the data, we need to maybe university research center, we need to have good communication with the farmers. Maybe some of NGO also have program with the farmers. For example, craft and others NGO also, they have problem with they have program with the smallholder. And one of the main target is to improve the oil palm productivity, and also not only oil palm productivity but land productivity, because most of them they try to educate the farmers to convert the monoculture system into the mixed cropping system, because mixed cropping system is actually more independent compared to the monoculture system in case of input. So we still have we still have chance to innovate our plantation area, and the farmer need university, need research center, and also need NGO to help them to have a good situation.
Thank you, Dr. Eka, for the response. Is there any more question?
Sorry, Pak Kamal. I have okay. And from our research, we know that some of the problem is due to the input management. But right now we know that one of the problem why the productivity is still low. One of them because of the input, and the most important input is nutrient. And actually, if we conduct the cultivation of oil palm with the monoculture system, actually maybe for the future we will have problem with the input, because most of the input is synthetic, and some of them the resources is very few, and maybe will stop within the next 5 years. So we need to have other scenario to produce more sustainable oil palm, especially in case input management. And based on our experience, actually agroforestry system, integrated system, and etc. I think that will be more sexy for the future. Thank you, Pak Amal.
Thank you, Dr. Eka. So, is there any question for this session for Dr. Eka? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Eka. My name is Abuzar and I'm from Pakistan. I have a general question about agroforestry. I know it has many benefits. It benefits farmer, it benefits ecosystem, but in another way, don't you think that it reduces the productivity of the soil? Because the soil has some nutrients or some stuff. So if you plant the trees and at the same time you also plant the crops, so don't you think it reduces the productivity of the soil? And if not, how like you can support the agroforestry? Thank you.
Thank you, my colleague from Pakistan, and nice to meet you. Actually, right now Pakistan is one of the big consumer of oil palm beside India. And you have excellent question. And actually, in case of oil palm, we can differentiate into two groups or two types of cultivation. And the first one, and the majority is monoculture system, and right now the minority is mixed cropping system, and one of them is agroforestry system. And actually, with the monoculture system, because of coverage, because of the less cover, some of the area of oil palm, they have problem with the soil organic matter, especially C organic level of the soil. Some of the area vastly decrease because some of the farmer they don't have activity to add to increase the level of organic matter, and based on the data, the level of C the level of C decrease in some area of our plantation. And you have question, if we add more dense of crops, is it possible to reduce the resources? In case of resources, the situation is opposite, because if we plant more dense of crops in the same area, that means the soil cover will be better. If the soil cover better, that means we will reduce the erosion. We will reduce the lack of topsoil. So we will improve our soil, because we manage the topsoil under the ideal situation. We reduce the we reduce the runoff, we reduce the erosion, and if the cover of the soil is good, that means if the rain is coming, that means when the water touches the soil, most of them become infiltrate inside the soil, and it will improve our soil water content because the rain, the water hit the surface of soil under very few energy compared to in the monoculture system. In the monoculture system, because on only one layer, that means if the rain come to the surface of water and the water touch the soil with the high level of energy, and some of them unable to infiltrate inside the soil, and some of them become runoff, and it will make erosion, and we will lose the topsoil. And in case of agroforestry, there are more covers above the soil, and some of crops, they will produce organic matter, and this situation will improve our soil health because many supply of organic matter in the soil surface, and this organic matter will act as food for the microbiome, and our density of micro will also improve, and we will have some benefit from the microbe. For example, the nutrient level will quite improve if we conduct mixed cropping agroforestry system. Yeah. Actually, the plant will absorb some. Actually, the crop will absorb some of the nutrient, but if they produce biomass, the biomass will release to the soil, and we will have closed nutrient cycle system, and it will improve our soil health. Thank you.
Thank you. There any more question from the participant? Yeah. Please hold the microphone.
Hello, doctor. My name is Hafiz. I'm from Malaysia. Thank you for the lecture. So I want to ask a basic general question. You talk about the yield gap. So there's potential yield and there's the actual yield. I just want to know how to calculate the potential yield and what are the parameters taken in calculating potential yield.
Okay, thank you, Hafiz, my colleague from Malaysia. Actually, relate to the productivity, we will able to differentiate into three type of productivity. The first one is potential, the second one is attainable yield, and the last one is existing yield. And for the potential yield, this yield is related to breeding program. You know that in Indonesia we have oil palm research center, and one of the main activity in the research center is to produce new cultivar, new progeny, new variety of oil palm. And if the breeder they cultivate the stand in the very ideal situation, so the stand will have they have possibility to produce very high productivity, and we call it as potential, the potential of crop, if the breeder they manage under ideal situation. And you know that in the breeding level, the breeder they have only maybe only one stand, maybe two stands, so very ideal. But in the production system, we know that we cultivate not only one stand, not only two stand. We manage many crops. We manage many hectares of the oil palm stand. So if we try to manage the crop with the high population, if we have managed under ideal situation, the maximum yield that possible to have is we call attainable yield. Basically, attainable yield, the value is 0.7 up to 0.8 from the potential yield. 80%, 70% up to 80% of potential yield. That's we call as attainable yield. And the last we call existing yield. And actually, right now, our existing yield is quite far from the attainable yield, and we call that as yield gap. And our hope right now is how to minimize the yield gap. That's the idea. And based on the identification that there are many driving force of yield gap factor, and one of them is planting material. The second one is nutrient management, water and soil conservation, and pest and disease. So yeah, our homework is how to innovate our technology to minimize yield gap to be close with the attainable yield. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that is the last question because due to the time allocation from the committee. And yeah, again, thank you. Please give applause for Dr. Eka for this revealing oil palm agroforestry for this session. And yeah, as we know before that agroforestry is a solution or a third way to discover an equilibrium or balance between economy and ecology, because we need both either ecology or economy, because that are essential for our life. And in my opinion, dichotomy between ecology and economy is no longer relevant in our generation for the future. So maybe that's the closing for me. Thank you very much for the attention for this session. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to all of the colleagues. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Eka, and also Mr. Akmal for already being made the interactive discussion through a comprehensive presentation. Before Dr. Eka leave the Zoom meeting, please, ladies and gentlemen, rise from your seat to take a picture together in front of here with our second keynote speakers of the second session of today. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, rise from your seat and move forward here. Okay, thank you so much for all of the participants, and thank you, Dr. Eka. We hope to see you again,
You're
maybe
welcome.
another lecture session. And ladies and gentlemen, after this, we're gonna have a lunchbox time, and please back to your seat again at 1 p.m. Thank you.